this video. Can you cheesecloth me so I look angelic?
30 rock and roll.
How long ago, yeah.
So there was an episode where they made it seem like everything was in high def, and then it showed Liz Lemon, and she was all like warty and like a hig.
That's awesome.
Okay. Back, you can see your shirt better.
Okay, we are live. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. I'm Lynette Bergen with Sweet 171 here with ShortCast, doing our show called Just Start, and we are talking to the gals who just started Nite Fargo. And so I will let you all introduce yourself one at a time. Darby, why don't we start with you?
Darby Miller, Karen Glover,
Tracy Kurtz.
And ladies, I have to say I have been to every single Nerd Night but 2, and I love this event. I love this event. Somebody start with like what Nerd Night is. Somebody give us an overview.
Want to go for it?
Sure. Well, Nerd Night it's not just in Fargo. It's in over 100 cities all over the world. It started many moons ago. Basically what happened was a guy would go over to Africa. He did evolutionary biology, and he would go over, come back. He was from the Upper East Coast, and every time he'd come back, people would ask him how it went, and basically he bored the bartenders at his favorite watering hole to tears, and they just said, listen, do it once, just do it once and forever and for all, and I don't want to hear it again. Yeah. So they did that, and thus Nerd Night was born. Matt, who is, I guess, the ultimate
boss.
Yeah,
okay.
the Nerd Night boss. He's from Brooklyn, and he stopped doing trivia and came over and helped put Nerd Night together. So actually, it's really cool because all of the Nerd Night bosses from around the world are a part of a group, and sometimes the entire group gets together at I think they did it at the Smithsonian this year.
Mm-hmm.
But we get to see almost every week or a bi-weekly basis. He introduces the new Nerd Night bosses and says what country and city they're from, and it's just, I think Australia just had 3 or 4 new cities within the last month, and it's really cool because you get to interact with everybody from around the world. But what Nerd Night, that's kind of how it started, and what it is, it's just nerdy adults being nerdy adults, and you're drinking beer, you're talking about anything nerdy or geeky that you're passionate about. It can be Star Wars, it doesn't have to be a science, it can be anything.
Right.
So, yeah, basically it's people getting together. So the unofficial tagline is, it's the Discovery Channel with beer. And so any of us can drink beer and watch the Discovery Channel, but the unique thing is that we're getting together and we're doing it together. And so we're having fun in that kind of social environment.
Right.
And so around the world, every setup is kind of different. But what we've done, and what most places do, is it's kind of a bar social setting, and you have several different speakers on a wide variety of topics. And the nice thing about having a wide variety of topics is because then if you have one speaker who's talking about something like really scientific or really technical, you'll have another speaker who's talking about pop culture, maybe the Marvel Cinematic Universe or something.
Right.
And so
yarn.
the really sciencey person is like, I don't care. Yeah. But then one talk might go
Yep.
over your head, and you're like, I don't care about this, but the other ones are cool,
And then you just drink more.
and you have fun, and you meet people.
Right.
And you could do that in your room.
Right.
But we want to do this in a social atmosphere.
Yeah, it's kind of like the videos that I would normally have been YouTubing anyway, but now I get to see the people live.
Mm-hmm.
So the structure of it, like the timing, you have kind of a timing structure. This many minutes for this, and the talks are X amount of minutes. Talk about that for a little bit.
I guess the concrete structure of Nerd Night is supposed to be, about 20 minutes per speaker. Whatever, I'm the unofficial timekeeper. So I'm supposed to be the one standing in the corner going, wrap it up, you got 2 minutes left, whatever. although it's supposed to be 20 minutes, generally I'm going, is this going over well? How is the crowd feeling? Most people go over.
Yeah.
And they do so because, we invite them to speak about whatever they want. It's whatever you nerd out about, come in and talk, because that's what makes the talk good, is how enthusiastic one person is about their topic. So we try not to be too tight about the 20 minutes. Like, we give them a little bit of leeway. And then, of course, at the end, there's time for questions. The crowd is always so responsive. And then there's a break in the middle. We try to do a game every week, which is, whatever, 10, 15 minutes or something. And it's trivia or it's a contest. We had like a nerdiest t-shirt contest one week, which I think was a great idea. I think that was your idea, actually, which went over really fun. Like, the crowd really loved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like 3 speakers, about 20 minutes each, and then a game, time for a break in the middle so people can pee because there's a lot of drinking. And then, and then time at the end. And what you find out is that...
No.
Oh, wait, people are... What?
Right to that.
But then, what's fun, too, is that people tend to stick around a lot after and just hang out and jam with, their friends that they came with, or with other people that they haven't met before.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it generally goes from, 7:30 to 9:30-ish?
Yeah,
I think every time.
Wrap up the official show at 9:30.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
then hanging outness happens.
Lurkers.
Sometimes 10. I think our Friday night special was 10:30, 11.
11 is optimistic for the Friday one. The Friday one was until bar closed.
Yeah. Who heard about this first? Like, obviously okay. So how did you figure out this is a thing? And
Well, it started because the three of us and another girlfriend of ours would always go to Science Cafe, which is another really cool local science-specific nerdy event. At that event, it's hosted at the Hodo, and there's a scientific speaker that comes each month and talks about their topic of research, ostensibly to a public, non-scientific audience, but it's still very academic, kind of very formal. We always showed up and would drink a lot of martinis.
It was so good.
It was good. And we had a lot of fun learning, but we all kind of have that science bent. But we would always drink afterwards and kind of talk about how we always wanted it to have kind of more of a young, professional, less formal atmosphere, still learn a lot, but not have it be so specific.
And a little more interactive.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah.
And so we just always
Less
kind
formal?
of drank a lot of dirty martinis and kind of wished
All of the martinis?
yes, that this existed.
right.
And one day I was just Googling, it's a really boring story, but I was just Googling book club topics, discussion topics, and somehow I ended up again on this Science Cafe Wikipedia page. Nite Fargo started because I went down a Wikipedia rabbit hole. And because I ended up on the Science Cafe Wikipedia page, which told us that it was an international thing, I found out on the references there was a Nerd Night thing, and I just clicked on it because that's what the rabbit hole does.
Yes.
And discovered that there's this whole world of people that get together and talk about whatever the hell they want and do it while drinking as much beer as the rest of us do.
Quite important.
Yeah. We're big fans of drunk history.
Oh, fantastic show.
So it was really the perfect combination of learning something but also having a few drinks.
Right, absolutely. So did it take much convincing to get this started?
No, I think we probably said yes before she finished her sentence.
Yeah. Karen brought it up via this dumb group text message that's been going on for months. And she's like, so anyway, Nerd Night. We're like, yeah, clearly, obviously, we should be doing this.
Yeah.
So then what happened, we took a couple of days off in the middle of the week, and Karen and I drove to Duluth because Nerd Night Global's one stipulation is that before you start your own Nerd Night, you go to another one.
Yeah.
So we took a couple of days off. We drove to Duluth, Minnesota, And we attended that nerd night, and we got to talk to the creators there. Like, we monopolized their time all night and just hear about their experiences and how they run it and what they like to do, what works, what doesn't work, or whatever. And then we brought it back to Fargo. You know, we got sanctioned by the home office, as it were, and started it up. And we have so many nerdy friends that it took right off.
Yeah, it's kind of the group we ran with anyway. So we have a lot of coworkers, we have a lot of friends, and there's a lot of new people that come, which, you know, and the new people bring more people, which is amazing. I mean, the following and the new people that show up, we love it.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
It was a very grassroots experience. So like the first night, we just reached out to people that we knew.
Yeah.
And from that, just asked everyone to share it, and found out that it was kind of a niche that people in Fargo were like, yeah, that's cool. I'm surprised it's not here.
Oh yeah,
We're
like
looking for that.
Right.
on our way back from Duluth, like, Karen was driving and I had like a notepad and we're like, who should we ask to speak? And we've got like this whole list of people that were like, oh, this person would do great, this person would do awesome, like we should ask this person. And you know, what's amazing is that we really haven't had to like reach out to people so much. It's just people that are sitting in the audience and they're like, I want to talk about this, which is great because that's exactly what we want to hear about. So.
Right. So the first night, then you sort of handpicked who was speaking. Were those friends of anybody's, or did somebody like? How did that first group? That first group was just so fantastic and so random, and just made. I think I fell in love with the whole experience.
So everyone knows the first night. What were our topics?
So Warren was
Warren Christian.
So Warren, NDSU physics, one of the professors there. He was the fantasy football, just basically using algorithms and
math
and spreadsheets and how to win.
How nerds can dominate fantasy football.
Yeah.
And I have to interrupt for a second. Warren is becoming a silent star of our show because on episode 2, Laura and John talked about Warren as being one of their
Well,
favorites.
we'll have to let him know because
Should we call him?
Yeah.
We had him dial in. He was with us before we came here.
he was holding us
It's bullshit.
And so then he was kind of
Who's next?
like a secondary acquaintance of ours. We didn't know him well, but we just kind of thought, you know, this guy I kind of know would talk about this. We reached out. He loved it. Our second speaker was Fred Donovan, who is an employee of a local biotech company.
I work with Fred.
Okay.
And he just talked about a history of beer. He like literally got up in front of everyone, didn't have a PowerPoint, nothing, and just like told this fascinating, everyone was riveted history.
Story of beer.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, it was. I was riveted. I was I was fascinated. Yeah, I didn't need PowerPoint. Didn't need any visuals.
Oh,
He
everybody
was,
loves beer.
Yeah, he just had us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fred knows everything about booze ever.
And then the third like super out of left field speaker was Jeremiah Utek talking about yarn.
That
And
was
just
so
and how it's
And a
sexy.
kilt.
in a kilt.
He killed that kilt. He did well.
Yes, he
And
did.
I swear, everyone showed up being like, whatever, I'll listen to these first 2 talks, and then whatever,
And then yarn.
Jeremiah, whatever, and they were all like, tell me more about yarn.
Oh my god, he put up that one slide
You're gonna
and
feel it though.
oh my god, he put up that one slide about
Oh.
there's a picture of this, you know, probably good looking
Sexy.
guy who is wearing like a sweater and has a beard, and Jeremiah's like, you know, I'm a straight man, but I look at that slide and I get it. That line will stick with me forever.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was fantastic. And then ever since then, I mean, the topics are so diverse, and yet everyone has been interesting. Like I haven't, found myself tuning out anything. They're all interesting.
Right.
The people are so dynamic.
Yep.
I think not that we forget about that in our community, but we don't have an opportunity to see that. And so many of our colleagues and friends and people we don't even know are just into the craziest stuff, and everybody has this great knowledge. I think it's an amazing time for an opportunity for people to share their knowledge. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. I mean, Fargo's full of gems. Some of the people that I've talked, I had no idea.
Yeah.
You can go from Star Wars to
Giardia.
Giardia. Yeah, I mean, just any topic from comic books or, whatever novels. It's all across the boards, and it's so interesting to hear what people are so involved in. And there's actually a podcast. So Nerd Night Global teamed up with CBS, and every single month they put out a podcast. Every week they put out a podcast, and Fargo is having our socioeconomics of Star Wars one featured tomorrow on the CBS podcast. So that's pretty exciting.
That is exciting. That's yay.
But I guess to me the exciting thing about it is that it doesn't have to be your field of experience or your field, your professional field or, that sort of thing. You can go up there as a nobody.
Yeah.
But it's because what you're passionate about, you're really interested in, and you have that opportunity to share that with people. And then they can leave being like, oh my God, I've never thought about that. Now I want to know more.
Right.
Yeah. And
So, have any of you given any thought to why is this so successful now? Like, why didn't it exist before, and why now?
Obama.
I don't know. Is it the newly coolness of the nerds and geeks? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of
Nerd is like a very recent
We
it's
were
cool
always
to be
cool.
nerdy.
we were always cool. It's just we knew it.
But now
everybody
it's
else
trendy
did. Yeah.
to be nerdy.
Yeah.
Was it like the Big Bang Theory suddenly became cool and
Not really.
now everybody wants in on our smart?
That wasn't it at all.
No, that's really something to think about, though. Like,
What's in the water?
The nerd geek.
it's like in the zeitgeist somehow.
Label.
How, why.
I remember when I was like, when I was like a little kid, and one of my aunts gave me a Christmas gift one year, and it was like this trivia card that was like Trivial Pursuit, but it was on flip cards. It wasn't actually Trivial Pursuit. But on the back of it, I found it weeks ago, just, because I'm moving and I'm like going through stuff. And on the back, it says, "It's okay to be smart." And I'm like, has it ever not been okay to be smart?
I remember middle school, it was not okay.
Yeah, I don't know, and I guess that's coming around again. Like, people are developing a newfound appreciation for people that know about math and science. And I don't know if that's because, the technology is just up-ramping so much lately or what, but yeah, I don't know why it's become cool to be a nerd lately. And even if it's not cool to be a nerd, I am going to continue to nerd. It's a good way to be.
It is a good way to be.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers to nerds.
To nerds.
To nerds.
Fantastic. So, yeah, Crystal.
So, I have a question. Let's talk about the art giveaway, which is my favorite.
Oh, the repurposed crappy art.
Yes.
It's like, who's X? Well, X is me. If no one's gonna say I was like, oh, that's me. Is that my me with an X? But the art is pretty cool.
Right, the art.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah. Talk about the art that you give away. Fantastic art.
Do you look behind the frame for the independence and the declaration or whatever? Money?
We know we talked about money. We have discussed this
Have you
before. Because we've discussed possibly painting and completely devaluing extremely valuable paintings. But usually we see something, we see a lot of potential. So we go with it and we make it beautiful in our own way. But I mean, I think it started, there was some artist, I'm not sure what it is, that we found online.
The one doing fart bubbles out of the Renaissance ladies.
Yes.
No, legit, there's some, I Googled it at the time and I forget his name, but there's some artist who paints Renaissance style photos, but then for example, there's this woman prone, mostly nude, Renaissance-y style photo, and then there are cherubs with bubble wands blowing bubbles out of her farts. And most of the internet thinks that is real. Like 1725 art.
Right, like it's,
But we being the nerdy assholes that we are had to like Google it and confirm its authenticity.
right.
And found out it's like some
It's some guy that does it for fun. Like, this
Yeah.
was not
Modern.
idea.
So that was inspiration.
Well,
Yeah, I mean it's an original modern idea, but he's doing the Renaissance style, but then adding his own sort of disrespectiveness into it, which really spoke to us.
It did. I mean, we felt that that was very appropriate to our personalities.
Yes. So with this artist, he did the whole works. Like he did the whole Renaissance.
It was all
painting
original.
and
He
everything.
wasn't co-opting anyone else's
Right.
work.
Yes.
And then you've seen the other ones where they do take something that exists already at the dime store or the
Thrift
thrift store
Yes.
and enhances it, shall we say?
Quite
Which is-
unique.
We are very rich in $2 thrift store art right now with a lot of potential for crappy painting. And that's what we do. We buy something for a few dollars that's got a really nice pond in it. Maybe She-Ra's unicorn
Is
or-
drinking out of that pond. Like, there it
Or
is.
maybe there's merman coming out of it. Or we just
So
we just
Darby
put it
and
together.
Tracy do actually have like historical science or no historical artistic talent. Okay.
Me, I don't know.
Tracy's
Darby is
jotting
pretty
herself
good.
down, but Darby does
Yeah.
things like straight from the blank canvas, which are super legit and awesome. And there have been ones of hers that I've seen that have really spoken to me.
The chandelier that you did,
Yeah.
like, on your own was really
That was
cool.
good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I used to paint.
Yeah, and there was that hearts one where the hands were,
Oh yeah.
and that was it spoke to me like art should.
Aww.
And
The scratches? Chandelier. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. We get together once a month, us three and
And Jessie,
and
too.
Jessie,
Our silent
and
partner.
Yes, our silent
Yeah.
partner. She's always with us and always was with us and always will be. So we do get together and drink martinis and watch Spartacus or
embarrassing
documentaries
things.
Yeah.
or whatever, and then we'll drink.
Not, I wouldn't say embarrassing things. We watch them for potentially embarrassing reasons.
Yes, and we make crappy repurposed art.
That's fantastic.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Fantastic.
I have like one of the most satisfying moments of my life at Nerd Night on Monday, where so we always have these drawings where people put in their names to win the repurposed art and whatever other stuff we've collected to give away. And one of the attendees showed up and was putting her name in and was like, "Yeah, I'm really excited. Oh my god, I love this painting. I hope we win it again because one of our other paintings, I won it at one of the recent months and it's hanging up in our lab right now, in their lab at NDSU, and it's the one with the TARDIS." And I was like, "Oh my god, I painted it!"
Yeah!
And I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." I was like, "Play it cool, Karen. Play it cool. I'm like, this is every day."
Oh my god. So, not that anybody needs a nerd qualification to be a founder of the Fargo Nerd Night, but like, what is your nerd thing? Like, what do you geek out on?
Oh boy, I think I'll say that my base nerd cred comes from actually closer to like 10 years ago. I was very big into Tolkien
Yep.
when I was in the community college way back in the day. I used to moderate a Tolkien forum, like when Lord of the Rings movies were first coming out and were getting really big. I moderated a forum on the discussion of those things. I have a chemistry degree. I'm very big into A Song of Ice and Fire, which has recently gained a lot of like mainstream attention with the HBO Game of Thrones thing. I nerd out about so many stuff, but I guess that would be my biggest thing
Yeah.
is between Tolkien and George R.R. Martin.
Yeah.
Nerdy.
Yep.
Yep.
Karen, what about you? What do you nerd out on?
I have a problem defining that because I nerd out on a lot of things. I've always been kind of the science weirdo though.
Yeah.
So I'm right now working on my PhD in biochemistry.
Okay.
So I have that kind of stop it. Science bent.
To call you doctor.
I'm excited to call you Dr. Karen someday.
That'll be a big
Someday,
day.
not yet.
Right now I'm just PhD candidate.
That's how you are on my phone. It's PhD candidate Karen.
Angry
Nice.
Karen.
PhD Karen.
But I don't know, I just was always interested in a lot of weird things. And I think growing up in the Midwest, we're expected to be kind of conformative and act kind of like everyone else. And it always frustrated me that I couldn't just be or act or be as interested in the things that I was,
Yeah.
that everyone else was interested in.
Yeah. Well, were you a reader? Did you get into movies? Like, were you a gamer? Like, or like you were just everything?
I would say reader.
Yeah.
Read a lot of stuff and just wanted to experience things outside of my own lived experience.
Cool. Darby, what about you? What do you geek out on?
Also geek out on a lot of things, but I guess my creds would be microbiology. Went to school for microbiology and chemistry. Was a co-founder of the microbiology club at NDSU, which
Nerd.
oh shush you.
Let me take a break and refill my glass of wine.
And I mean, which soon merged with the biotech club. I worked at a biotech company for 10 years, now at a CRO. But I think the sci-fi fantasy thing I've always nerded out on, and I have this obsession with ancient history and the unknown.
Okay.
And I love it. I love learning about anything that is not quite explainable yet
Oh, nice.
in science or in history, and I nerd out on that a lot.
Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of what I nerd out
You should ask her.
on the. How about you?
Yeah, what do you nerd out about?
Well, I do Lord of the Rings kind of thing, Star Wars, all that kind of stuff. I don't know. That's a really tough. Now I feel how hard that question is to really answer. 'Cause, like, you can't put yourself in a box, really. I've been a closeted tech geek. Tech geek when tech was not cool for girls. It was not cool. Had my first computer in like 1984.
Wow.
Where you had to have like, you had to know some kind of code to make it do anything. It wasn't like, you just click on whatever. You had to kind of code it in. So I did some coding, which I was really closeted because I forgot about that part of my life until I met my husband, who is a real coder. And then I could kind of remember, oh God, I used to do that. But yeah, it's hard to categorize that. It really is. I really want to cheerlead for women in science and technology, so I kind of really geek out on that. And I like to write. I like to write all kinds of sci-fi and.
Really? Are you in any writers groups or anything like that?
I am. I'm in a sci-fi writers group, and we all met at Nerd Night.
Are you in
bringing
Shauna's
people
group?
together.
Yes.
Nice. Is that going? Like, is it off the ground?
It
Like,
is.
doing well?
We're writing and we're challenging each other and reading each other's work. And,
That's so good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
See, it brings people together.
Yeah.
It really
super
does.
excited. Yes.
It really does.
In a lot of the bigger cities, they have something called Nerd Night speed dating. And I think in New York City there have been 5 marriages from it.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, can you imagine the
people.
nerds they spawn off of that?
Super nerds.
Super nerd.
Uh-huh.
So now, I know you've given a Nerd Night talk.
Mm-hmm.
Have all of you given a Nerd Night talk?
Karen's holding
She's
up.
holding
Karen's
out.
holding out. And yours, okay, so let's talk about yours first.
Mine was the unbiased approach to the theories of our being. Basically, it covered creationism, evolution, and the very popular, thank you to Ancient Aliens, topic of alien intervention in human evolution. And and basically just, I guess, beginnings.
Yeah.
Speaking to Darby's obsession with
Obsession,
things that cannot be explained by
Right.
modern science.
Right.
Yeah.
So I tried to cover all of them. The beauty of Nerd Night is coming in with a passion, but being unbiased and not trying to convince anybody of your belief. So, there were a lot of different cultures, and there are a lot of different beliefs there, and I think that, if you can fully execute something that kind of hits the spot of maybe a religious
Informative, but
belief.
not.
Exactly. And, and on the same front, Tracy gave a GMO talk.
Yeah,
You
mine
know,
was,
which-
it was on genetically modified organisms, which is a super hot topic
It
these
is,
days.
yeah.
And my feeling, pardon me, I'm gonna get preachy for a minute. My feeling on GMOs is that people they're so much influenced by fear. They don't know what it is. They're not, and because they don't know what it is, then they're scared of it. So I put together my talk to be more informative on what genetically modified organisms are, how they're made, just to inform folks of what really we're dealing with here, and I went into how they modify the plants, what DNA is, super basic. I really wanted people to come into that talk if they weren't sure, to come out of it to at least know, or at least have a basic understanding of what GMOs are. And I've gotten a lot of really good follow-up from it. People that have said they learned even the most basic thing from it. A lady had posted something like, I was talking about DNA and how it stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. And a lady learned that night that, she was made of acid, which was cool. And I saw that on Facebook. I'm like, I taught somebody something. Yes! Yay! And then people have come up to me several times after, outside of Nerd Night even, they talk to me and they want to talk about GMOs with me. I'm like, so awesome, because I think Nerd Night is a platform for anybody to talk about anything they nerd out about. But this is kind of one of the things that I feel strongly about, is that people who can talk legitimately about science and literally about science, to be able to relay that to people that don't, deal with biotech, with chemistry, with physics, whatever, every day. To be able to relay those topics to people that are, I guess for lack of a better term, lay people.
Right.
So I was super happy after my talk.
That's
that
fantastic.
people had learned things. I'm like, I win. Good for me.
Yeah, because especially on that topic, there's so much noise out there. Just a lot of noise.
A lot of noise. A lot of fear mongering, and I feel like there are people, corporations that, they're using fear to drive sales of their product.
Right.
And I don't want people to do one thing or another just because they're afraid and they don't understand. Understanding, I think, is key. So, sorry, that was my soapbox. I'll shut up and keep drinking now.
That's so fun.
More wine.
So Karen, when are you going to get in there?
Yeah, Karen, when are you going to get in there?
Yeah,
Yeah, Karen.
Pressure.
The reason I've held out is because I'm in grad school right now, and I'm in that weird angry stage where a lot of people know what I'm talking about, where you're just so immersed in what you're working on, because there's that pressure on you that that's the only nerdy thing, and it's really hard for me to find to remember. I know that there are other nerdy things in my life that I've been really passionate about, but it's really hard for me to find something that I can feel sincere about nerding out on right now without like having an angry
We need to
reaction.
do our beer
Oh, yeah.
experiment, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
no, I get that.
And so I don't think that every person that speaks at Nerd Night, or even that most people that speak at Nerd Night, should talk about what they do as a living. It's great if what you do as a living is like what you're most passionate about, but not everyone finds that, and it's not necessarily the standard. There's nothing wrong with that, I don't think either. I mean, I think you have to find something that you do for a living that you're passionate about on some level, but I don't think that that's necessarily something that is something you can convey like passionately to an audience
Without becoming
Yeah.
a commercial, if you're really
Right.
talking about what your business
I don't want to be a
is.
commercial.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't
No,
think
get
that's
that.
what Nerd Night is about.
Right.
One of the things we're really, one of the things that's really important to us is that it doesn't seem salesy. It doesn't seem like we're selling an idea or an ideology or a place or a company or a topic that is something. And so
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
I'm just
very-
not at a place in my life where I can talk passionately about something, but not.
Yeah, we're very much
Yeah.
like, we don't charge anything to get into Nerd Night. None of our speakers are getting paid. We're not getting paid.
Right.
The our venue is not getting paid. You know, with the exception, of course, of the drinks and the dinners
Right.
that we buy.
Right.
And we want so much to keep it that way. You know, for it just to be for people to show up and learn something and enjoy themselves. You know, once you get money incorporated into things, then it gets complicated.
Yep.
Like people expect things.
Right.
Then
And-
we may have to advertise or help, or
Yeah.
you know, it's.
No.
But the so we have it at Billiards and Gastropub of Fargo, and the owner just so happens to be a biochemist,
Oh, nice.
and he was kind enough to actually, he really was interested in what we were doing, and was kind enough to basically let us have his venue every single month and bring in people. And every single night we've been there, he's been there too. It's been pretty cool. He's there.
So
So-
this is a venue that, I mean, they rent out these rooms.
Right.
They typically charge people to host their events there, and they're not for us because he
And the
sees
crowds-
it as a
The crowds have been really good. I mean, they've been really big,
Right.
full rooms. So so I would have to, believe that they're
Drink
still
a lot.
making money. Yeah,
2
drinking a
pictures
lot.
when that gets.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
picture, sometimes picture.
That's right.
picture of a balloon.
Picture.
2 vodka tonics at least.
Bring the figure. I do that picture too.
We plan ahead.
Yeah.
So let's talk about marketing for a little bit. A lot of our audience really, is interested in how businesses get their stuff off the ground and what they do to gain buzz and attention and things like that.
Well,
So
can we first put the caveat out there that we're not really a business?
you're not, but the businesses can learn
Okay.
It's a
from the
process.
success of what is happening. There's a combination with you guys. There's a combination of it's the right timing here in the market with the right product, because it really is a product. Nerd Night is something that we are coming and to consume gleefully. So other than just asking your friends to be involved for the first one, talk about maybe some of the marketing or not marketing that you guys have done.
Social media is pretty huge.
I would say number one, really.
Have we done anything else?
Yes.
Not, ooh, technically with flyers and
Yeah.
Well, we do have a
Yeah,
website. We have a
website.
website. It's fargo.nerdnight.com. That
Good plug.
You can
fargo.nerdnight.com.
do plugs.
And but no,
You got
we
billiards, you got
We have billiards.
NiteFargo.com.
What we do is we have a Facebook group, and people are always requesting to join. And, we approve them all. We just, that's our thing. We just try to keep out a lot of the spam, but yeah, spamminess.
There have been a couple that were like, this isn't a real person.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like we thought that like meant we made it, right? We did it.
Hooray!
And then we do post it on Fargo Monthly, so we post it to that, so it goes on to their, or we submit it to their monthly calendar, and it's actually been purely social media and word of mouth.
Yeah.
We do,
And a lot of the speakers, we ask the speakers to evangelize to their friends and invite them in, and maybe for the 10 people that they bring in, 5 or 3 of them will come back.
Yeah.
or spread the word to their friends. Things like that. We try to make flyers and stuff too to hang up wherever. A very good friend of ours, Greg Lochnikar, under G-Loch Photography, also does graphic design. He has been kind enough to make up some flyers for us for Nerd Night too. So we hang those, in our new places of work and things like that. But I mean, I would say
For
vastly social media
Yeah.
is our advertising and marketing.
Well, how are we doing on time? I feel like we're ready to...
We're
Okay. The last thing I really want to talk about is what do you need us to know about Nerd Night? What do you need the world to know about Nerd Night Fargo?
Well, first of all, it's awesome, and
Yeah.
you should join us
You should
sometime.
obviously be
Even
there.
if you aren't sure if it's your crowd or if you'd fit in there, the answer is it's your crowd and you'd fit in there. I promise you. If you don't feel like that, I'll buy you a drink. I don't know. I mean,
shots on parking.
yes.
Yeah!
I'm not gonna say. Can I tell an anecdote?
Yeah.
So this Monday we had a speaker talking about a Game of Thrones and a history of Westeros, and neither my husband nor I have read or watched any of the books or the series.
Okay.
And we were kind of like, I don't know if we should go because we don't want to be spoiled because we think we will eventually read it. But then we realized, he promised that there will be no spoilers, whatever will show up. But we're not really interested because that seems, like we don't know anything about it. And Tracy's huffing and puffing in her anger right here. And so both of us were like, okay, whatever, we're just going to go and show up. I mean, obviously I was going to show up because
Yeah, it's your thing.
I'm there.
Yeah.
But
Ooh.
both of us left being like, damn it! Now I have to read it!
We
Yeah.
binge watched that show.
Totally binge watch it.
The only reason we're avoiding it is because we need to read it, and we're those assholes who are like, no, I need to read it, and I want to read it,
You should read
but
it.
I haven't yet.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't matter what order. I can read things first or watch the movie first. I'm so like, just entertain me. I will believe you whatever you've done. Yeah. I don't like. It doesn't ruin it for me if the movie is not like the book or vice versa.
I'll
Yeah,
agree with
good.
that.
If it's not in code,
If it's not in code.
screw it.
Like zeros and ones. I'm totally out.
Might as well film it.
My answer to that question would be for our speakers. There's no limit on who can speak at Nerd Night or what they should talk about. What's really important is your enthusiasm for the topic. Our best, I'm not even gonna say our best speakers, like all of our speakers, everybody that's come in has talked about something that they really enjoy. Like this is their jam, this is what they nerd out about in their real life. And that really comes through, like when they speak to the crowd, and that's what gets the crowd engaged, is their comfortableness with the topic, and how excited they are about it. And we've had a lot of people that are very like, what if I come in there and I talk about Star Wars and some nerd in the audience like nitpicks me and calls out, you know, that I'm incorrect on something, we've never had it happen. We have a ban on that happening. Like we get up at the beginning of every nerd night. We're like, don't be a jerk. Like,
I think you said dick last time.
well, dick. Yeah, I was trying to be correct for the camera, but okay. Don't be a dick. That's our rules. Is don't be a dick at nerd night. You know, be positive, have fun, and talk about whatever you want. So that's what we want
It's
people to
always
come
fun.
in.
Yeah.
Talk about,
It's a great experience.
for real.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would harken back to that yarn nerd night talk,
Oh.
where most people I would assume and actually have a few specific examples of people who said, you know, I showed up for the first 2 talks because I thought they would be interesting, and then I was like, whatever, I'll be drunk for the 3rd one, so I don't care about the freaking yarn talk. And they're like, oh my god, the yarn was the only thing I cared about.
It was so funny.
It was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine was hilarious.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you want to give a talk about what you're passionate about, you can have your beer up there or shot.
By all
you
means,
can
yeah,
F
slightly
bomb,
drunk beforehand.
swear, whatever. I mean, this is your show.
This
for
is your
20
comfortable
plus
environment.
minutes. Yep.
You do what you want.
Right. And that is really the magic
No
of
restrictions,
it.
you sure?
No restrictions.
Pretty much none.
People
Pretty
are
much.
just really themselves.
Don't be a dick.
being excited
No one's
about the
speaking.
stuff.
No, dicks are in the crowd.
It depends, because I mean, for example, Fred's a dick.
He is quite often, yes.
But not nerd.
His talk was very non-biased. Like, we only asked him to talk about beer, and we were not asking him to talk about gun control. We're like, that could have
Or
been
this
problem.
list of the scroll of topics across the floor.
That's right. You cannot talk about this or this or this.
The
or
moral of my point
beer.
is that even if you perceive yourself to be a dick, does not mean that you can't speak at nerd night.
Right, if you're passionate about it, we're gonna get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely, absolutely. So, join their Facebook page at Nerd Nite Fargo. So facebook.com Nerd Nite Fargo. Yes,
Is that what it is?
yes. Is that the address? Something like that. Search for it in the Google or the Nerd Facebook search.
Do the internet thing where you like put in the
Internet.
Nerd Fargo
Yes,
thing on
yes.
the Facebook thing,
Yes.
and you find the thing.
So, and then fargo.nerdnight.com, you can find them there. And it is the third Monday of every month at the Gastropub on 32nd Avenue South in Fargo. What else do they need to know?
7:30 p.m.
7:30 p.m.
You can miss football.
Yes, you can definitely miss football.
No
This is
cover.
Way better than football.
No cover. It's a no
Free
cover.
show.
Yep.
Show up. Have fun.
Okay. Thank you for being with us.